Hello everyone, I'm Tiffany. Today the topic I'm introduce about is when whale collide. So before I get into this topic, I wanna introduce about the lifestyle of humpback whale. So every year, humpback whales migrate between high latitude, their summer feeding grounds, and low latitude, their winter productive grounds. So summers and much of the fall season are spent feeding on fish and zooplankton. And during winters and early spring are spent in reproductive activities, including taking care of their cows and do all the things involved in whale romance, like mating and showing off the attract mates. So it's like they have a seasonal schedule for eating and having their offspring. So in winter, reproductive rounds are limited in three principal regions. On the west coast of Baja California and Revolado Islands in the eastern Pacific. And then the main Hawaiian Islands in the central Pacific. And the Ogasawara Islands and part of the Okinawa Islands, south and southwest of Japan in the western Pacific. So in this paper, the focus is on the Hawaiian Islands area. So the reason why the scientists observed the interaction between humpback whale is that they wanted to really witness the actual mating system of the humpback whales. So now imagine there is a group of male animals trying to get close to a female animals. So here is the female humpback whale. So there will be the one who gets closest and does the most to impress her is called the principal escort. And then other males who also want to be in that top spot are called challengers. And the rest of the males who aren't trying to get as close as to the female are called secondary escorts. So it's like a competition among the males to be close to the female. So the challenge is that given that humpbacks spend much of time underwater doing mating, so it's crucial to find ways to observe their activities. So swimmers use snorkels or scuba gear can capture brief videos, but the challenge depends on whales needing to move slowly or stay still for closer views. And when we learn some things by watching them from boats as they swim near the surface, but most of what they do underwater is hidden from us. So if we want to really understand how humpback whale mates, we need to find ways to watch them underwater for longer periods. So this is how they use Crittercams. So this technology is a tool that can help overcome the challenges of watching animals underwater for a longer time. So it let us record nonstop videos of what animals are doing, like how they behave, interact with each other, and even the sounds they make. It also gives us extra information like how deep they dive and how fast they swim. So the deployment steps is the scientists will identify competitive groups from small boats. They will get closer to the humpback whale groups, and there will usually be 3 or more adult size engaging competitive behaviors. And then before they use the Crittercam, they carefully watch the competitive group to recognize different whales, what their characters are. And to determine a whale's gender, they send a swimmer equipped with snorkeling gear and a video camera. They search for a specific part near the whale's tail, called a hemispheric lobe. So is this hole, if the whale have this, it is indicate to be the female humpback. And then the last part is that after the scientists have watched the competitive group, they figure out whose character it is, and then they will check if they are male or female, and then try to put the sighter cameras on the whales. So it's so they will have this long stick, and there will be a sighter cam, and then it will be used on the humpback whales. So the x-axis indicates how many sighter cams they are used, and the y-axis, is steps. So there are 10 data here. So the mark indicates that the sea floor was visible on the video. And this means the Crittercam failed to collect depth data. So as you can see, that most of the whales, they dive over 100 meters. So during a 73 minutes observation of the behavior between the principal escort and the female, the data showed that the principal escort spent most of the time with the female. So it's around 49%. And then during this time, this figure is shown that when the principal escort is with the female, they often act aggressively, like chasing or charging in 77% of cases. So we call each time of this happen an episodes here. So the escort whale usually did 3 things: stay close to the female, left her to chase another whale, and then came back to her afterward. So in this figure, you can see there are 2 secondary escorts, but actually they usually don't fight to each other. They will just stay close to the female and also the rest of the humpback whales. But here, the scientists observed they actually had direct aggression between secondary escorts. So they are charged and striking each other. And here is the female and the principal escort. So the female whale moved her fins close to the principal escort in this image. And after that, they both stayed still and facing each other with the female's belly towards the principal escort, while they blew bubbles from his nose. So you can see the bubbles here. And we saw the female sticking close to the main whale in the group that was moving quickly. Even though he was flapping his tail faster than she was, this suggests that she might have been riding in this whale, and which would mean she needed to stay really, really close to him to do that. So the take-home messages, First is the successful use of technology. Because using the Crittercam on humpback whales during their winter breeding time has helped the scientists to learn more about how they act underwater, especially when they are in groups competing for mates. Scientists saw female whales getting involved in males, and which suggests they might get to choose who they want to mate with. So this shows that female whales have an important role in picking the best mates, which makes sense because they invest a lot in having their offsprings. And the scientists also discover new behaviors because they checked some things they already knew and also found new stuff that have these whales group work. As I mentioned, the secondary escorts usually just follow the whale groups. They don't fight each other a lot. So in this paper, they discover this is really new behavior for them. And also, it means that the secondary escorts may have figuring out their own roles in the group. And then the scientists also knew the possible mating depths. So most of the humpback whale, they dive over like 100 meters. So the scientists discovered that humpback whales swim all over the water, even going really deep. So they think some of them might even mate these deep spots. Okay.
Hi, I'm Daphne. I want to ask, do you know where is the length of the machine on the whale? Where is the length?
You mean the video lens?
Yes, yes. You can show the machine here.
Because they collect the data for like short videos for like seconds or minutes, so overall I think it's about 40 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm not sure what lens they use according to the picture, but yeah.
So maybe it's just 180 degrees, right? The video only can take.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Yuki. I want to ask about how many times this study has a video mating behavior. How many times?
Oh. Actually, they don't really record the mating sites, actual mating site, because they just see they just like observe the interaction, but not really the mating. Yeah.
So how many times? So the behavior they have find they are repeated the same behavior, or they just have found one times and they report that one times.
Oh, yeah. I think they have observed like different behaviors of the whales, but they only observe one time, like every behavior in this paper. Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to ask, what is the most interesting part you think when you read this paper?
I think most interesting part is this one, because before I do the research, I have no idea how to identify like male and female. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi. I think in this paper, the only species of whales that mentioned are humpback whales, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I was wondering why they choose humpback whales instead of other kinds of whales?
I'm not sure, but maybe they are interested in humpback whales.
Hi, I want to ask you how those female whale find their escort.
I think it's not the female to find the principal escort, but the male, like in the whale groups, the male will fight for this position. So it's kind of naturally happens.
So if the female, around the female whale, there's no male whale. How?
You mean how the male whales appear?
Yeah. If she need the protection.
Okay, because I think humpback whales, like I think most of the whales, they usually move in groups. So I think there's always males around her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think you will agree with me that this is a very nice, and the paper itself is also very interesting. So when I read it, so that was a nicely chosen material. So you see, the material you choose will sort of decide your destination. And then she also did a very good presentation. So you see, she had this nice artwork, and she also spoke calmly. But the major weakness is you were looking at your pad all the time. So next time, I really want you to look at the audience instead of reading like this. I think you can do that, yeah? And then, I think I don't need to repeat all this nice artwork, so I will just focus on the suggestion for improvement. So many times, you talk a lot, you have a long lines, however, you don't print the corresponding keywords on the slide. You don't need to print the full sentence, but it would be highly recommended that whenever you say something, you put the keywords. So this will, because you see you sometimes, this is especially for later slides, you just say a lot without the keywords. So I just lose my focus. And then number 7 is you have from time to time typo, like because you don't have many words, so it's easy to identify your typos. Like a challenge is a typo. And then I think this doesn't read Crittercam. That's how you read, right? I would say it's Crittercam, or maybe you can check that later. And then I really appreciate the use of there was a slide where you use the cartoons a lot. I really like this because this clearly explain their inter-whale relationships. But I would appreciate that later when you were talking about the results, especially when you were talking about the data, it would be also helpful that you can maybe also put this little whale mugshot here so that and use these cartoons to show their possible behavior. That would make your talk even more interesting. And like this, if it's chasing, maybe you can use the cartoon to show it's chasing. And especially this, because the cam has a limited coverage, okay? So actually, sometimes it's not easy. For example, this one, if without the paper, it's probably difficult to know what's really going on. So maybe you can use your imagination and use your little cartoon to show, what are possibly the two whales, the male and female, what they might be doing using your cartoons. Okay, and it's also good that you enlarge the photo as much as possible. And here is a very good example that you say a lot, you have super long lines, but you don't have the corresponding keywords. So, and then at the end, I start to lose attention. Okay, so you should print keywords, appropriate keywords. Otherwise, I think it's a very nice talk. Let's thank Tiffany.